Hey, welcome back. So let's start with objects. Now we have known about classes. Yeah, we will be jumping off into the actual practical part once we complete much of the theory. So we have completed class. We will complete objects now, and then we are going to jump into Jupyter Notebook, and correspondingly we are going to cover more and more things into this. So, if you could recall my example of dogs, we have a name and an age, we have 100 dogs, then we have to create something else. So, let's hover over the same thing. So, an object is an instance of a class. A class is like a blueprint, while an instance is a copy of a class with its actual value. Now, again, what exactly do I mean by this? An object is an instance of a class. So we have a bigger class, and object is just an entity belonging to that class. So let's say you are an engineering student. You belong to a particular block, a particular class, let's say a particular section. So you are from computer science engineering, or probably in some school. So you are in class 11 or class 12, and you belong to that class 12. So your class 12 is an class, and you are an object belonging to that class. So you are an instance of that particular class. Now, a class is like a blueprint, which while an instance is a copy of the class with its actual value. As I told you, you are in class 12, and you guys are the actual entities or the actual object belonging to that particular class. Whatever you guys are doing reflects the most of the class. It's not an idea anymore. It's an actual dog, like a dog of breed pug who's 7 years old. You can have many dogs to create many different instances, but without the class as a guide, you would be lost, not knowing what information is required. So you have a class which is acting as a blueprint. So from the class, I know that this is class 12, and this is a computer science students. They are having 5 subject: computer, physics, chemistry, maths, or some other subjects. Okay, so that's the blueprint of the class, and you guys are the objects who are pursuing that particular courses over there, or particular subject, studying that particular subjects into that. So you guys are the real class entity. You're the instance of a class, and the class is just an blueprint which tells us how the flow looks like. Now, an object consists of three things: that is a state, a behavior, and an identity. Okay. A state, it is represented by the attributes of an object. What are attributes? The variable that belongs to a particular class. It also reflects the properties of an object. What is a behavior? It is represented by the method of an object. It also reflects the response of an object to other objects. And at the end, what is an identity? Identity, from the name itself, you could just recall that it gives identity to an object. That is the name of an object. It gives a unique name to an object and enables one object to interact with other object. Let me give you quite an example. Let's create one small table over here. So in the identity, we can just write. So I'm not going to write the full thing. It's quite difficult for me to write it from the mouse. So let's write the name. So the name of the dog is Sam. So now what are the attributes? That are the variable belonging to that particular class. So I have the attributes. In the attributes, I can have breed, which breed the dog is, the age, and the color of him. Okay, let's took 3. And what is the behavior? Behavior. Okay, I'm not going to complete it up. Okay. Now, a behavior can be bark. This is just a method or an function belonging to that class. Then we have sleep, and at the end we have eat. Let's take just 3 examples. So that's how the behavior looks like. So this is the state. Uh, then we have uh, behavior. Then we have identity. Identity is the name. Attributes are just the state of it. That is the different variables that we have been using. That tells us a lot about the class and the behavior. Now, let's have a quick example of a class, how to create an object, and then we are going to jump into Jupyter Notebook from our next video. So let's jump into class. So let's create a class stud. Okay. So let's have age and name. So I have two things, not much, not more. Okay, age equals to 19 and name equals to Paul. Okay, so I have two variables or two attributes that belong to a class stud. Now, how to create an object of that class? So let's create an object. So it's quite easy. You just have to write S, that is the object name. Right now I'm just writing S as the object name. This is obj name. Okay, and to create an object, so I just have to write the class name and parenthesis open, parenthesis close. That's how your object has been created. Now, one important thing that you should be knowing, that when an object of a class is created, the class is said to be instantiated. Okay. All the instances share the attributes and the behavior of the class, but the values of those attributes, that is the state, are unique for each object. A single class may have any number of instances. Okay, so that's how we create an object and the class has been instantiated. So now to get out the variables, that is s dot age, and you can write s dot name. So using the dot operator, just quite remember dot operator. So this will give me output as age will be 19 and it will display Paul. Okay, so that's how you can create an object for a class. That is what we meant by instantiation. So that's everything that you should be knowing for the theory part of class and objects. Let's jump into Jupyter Notebook and solve some very interesting problems. And then again, we are going to look into some new topics, deeper topics into class and objects.